Hello. Hi, welcome to the Peaceful Home. Today we're going to talk about what, Maya? I'll interpret. Toddler toys. Have you ever had your toddler do this? If so, I think today's video could be a big help. In talking with my client, in this case my daughter, about the issues she's having with her two toddlers, we were able to come up with a plan to solve some of the problems. Joanna's kids are 1 and a little over 2. And if you have 1, 2, or 3 kids under the age of 3, you know how exhausting it can be. One of the main problems with toddlers is that they don't play like older children. They tend to scatter their toys quickly, make a mess, dump everything out, and then move on to the next thing to dump out. They really don't play with the toys until they are kind of graduating to a new level of development. And at that point, they may play for a few minutes and then scatter the toys. There is a problem with age difference because for younger kids, they really do just scatter and move things around. But older toddlers are beginning to sort and stack and line things up and pretend. We want to find a way to encourage their play development without having toys everywhere driving us crazy. If you're new here, I'm Teresaelling and I'm a professional organizer, parenting coach, wife and homeschool mom to 6 graduated kids. Raising my 6 kids was quite an adventure. And at one point I did have 3 and under. One of the problems I had in the beginning was always looking for that magical toy that would somehow solve all of my problems. It would instantly occupy my toddler for an hour so that I could get things done. And of course, that rarely happened. And when it did, it usually was because they were playing with something else, like a cardboard box, or getting into something that they shouldn't be into. But it doesn't keep us from continuing to look for that perfect toy. The problem with that is that our children need us more than toys. They need time with us just for fellowship and friendship. They also need to follow our lead in language development, as well as have the opportunity to practice gross and fine motor skills. And they definitely need us to be with them when cleaning up. Joanna has such a cute home and she has baskets of toys tucked here and there, really available for the kids. But one of her biggest problems was the children dumping out the toys, scattering them around, kicking them, throwing them, and never really playing with them. The first step to fix this is to gather all of your toys in one spot. Now, I know this might seem really daunting, but it's so important. This means you have to hunt around the house a bit for games and toys that are in closets, in bedrooms, in play areas, in the kitchen, living areas. Bring them all together and begin to sort. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to is if a toy is a single or a set. So what I mean by that is you might have a dump truck. It's a one-piece item. They push it around and play with it, but it doesn't go with anything else. That's a single. Then you might have a set of Duplos, and you have a whole bunch of blocks in a basket. That's a set. Make sure that you put all of your sets together and like things together and set all your singles aside. Toss anything that is broken and have a donate box handy for anything your children have outgrown or that you find they aren't playing with. I have done a lot of kids' spaces and honestly, I have never seen so few stuffed animals.
Oh, there's one more.
Oh, one more, okay. Should make you feel a little better. Stuffed animals are often one of the biggest problem areas for families. We tend to collect them constantly and not ever get rid of any. I know you feel like you have a ton of toys. Oh, I did see her in the little basket on the back of the door. So cute. Okay, normally what I would advise for stuffed animals and dolls is that they belong to a particular child and they're on their bed or in their room.
I just remembered one more.
The exception to that would be maybe a set of animals that you play with all together, then they should be in their own box. Oh yeah, what's his name again?
Floppy Pancake.
Floppy Pancake, yes. But if these are individuals, then they can have their own spots, sitting on a dresser, sitting on a bed, and eventually your child can learn. They make their bed and they make sure their animals or dolls are placed where they belong. So you don't really have any sets of anything that they would definitely play with together. What do you think,
So
Millie?
this is Millie's favorite.
Okay.
She will sleep with it. She will play with it all the time.
So
She just saw this one,
Oh.
which she loves, but it's a little delicate for her right now. So I keep it on a cute little spot more as decoration for her when she's older. Her godparents got her that, and she loves it.
Oh, okay. So are these all keep items?
No. So I know that we already don't have as many as a lot of other people would. You want me to wear the hat? Thank you.
And that doesn't matter. It's not about comparing yourself to someone else.
So the baby we will keep because every child needs a baby. And they absolutely love it. These toys were part of Nehemiah's first nursery room. We did a woodland animal theme for his shower and for his room, but we've moved out of that theme. And even though they're cute and we already have them, they're not played with and they're not fitting in the current decor.
Okay.
So these ones will go.
And so I have another question. We're getting dressed here, apparently, dressed up, so that we look better to be on camera. Are you having a problem with those stuffed animals? I mean, are they cute sitting in a corner and you don't have to worry about them? Or do the kids?
No, they get thrown every single day.
Okay.
Everywhere.
So they're tossed somewhere and they're just in the way. Good
Yeah.
reason to get rid of them. This guy's a keep?
Yes. So we have this little guy. We just have one. He goes on a little shelf, and they love playing with him. The bunny, it's hard because stuffed animals are so often given as gifts, but this one's great because we do a lot of little activities with it. We have some bunny books and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And, you know, it seems more manageable to have one that could be scattered versus 4. So I think this one's a keep.
Absolutely.
This one is decoration on a shelf because it's the cutest ever.
Okay.
And Floppy Pancake is what I was hoping would be Nehemiah's like security animal, but it wasn't.
Since we had the kids with us that day, it probably took us about 2 hours to sort through all of the toys. We ended up with a very generous donate pile, a trash pile, and then all these other toys that we needed to make decisions about. I'm going to go through 5 things you need to consider to manage toddler toys. Number 1, you need to limit the amount of toys. I can't tell you how many times I tell this to clients, and it is so difficult, and trust me, I know. Last year when I decluttered all the toys that I have for our grandchildren, I had such a hard time getting rid of things. But in this case, I'm not asking you to necessarily get rid of things, but just to limit what's available. So here is the question of the hour. Of all the toys that are accessible to your children, if they were to pull every single bin and basket out and dump it all over the floor, would you be okay with that? We tend to think our toys are manageable when they're all put away. But the thing is, toddlers will dump and scatter. So you have to think about this. If they're scattered everywhere, how long will it take me to clean all this up? Do you find that you're cleaning up the same type of messes over and over again? This is where you need to limit. So for example, Nehemiah loves stacking blocks. Right now he can stack about 5 to maybe 8 high. So I would give him a few extras, maybe 10 to 12 blocks in a basket, but he doesn't need 30. 30 are going to end up everywhere and he's not going to play with them. So you're going to take the 8 to 12, have them in a little basket, and the rest are going to get put away for when he is developmentally ready to play with more blocks. Or when you decide you're going to sit down with your toddler and build a huge tower, but that's with supervision. That would be a great thing to do, but you want to have control over that many blocks. Number 2, you are going to put away the majority of toys. Now that means all the extra toys, for example, the doll with 1 outfit, and you're going to put 10 other outfits away for later. You're also going to put away anything that the children need supervision to play with, anything that might be dangerous or noisy. After Joanna had sorted all the toys and decided which ones could remain out, the extras went in a closet. It's pretty amazing to think that all of these toys were accessible to the children at one point. Now an adult needs to get them out. The little drum set is put away because it's a noisy toy and it needs to come out at the appropriate time. Number 3, have one area for a few toys to be out. I suggest that this be a common area, not in a bedroom, but in a living room or family room where the family hangs out, where the kids play most of the time, and where you can see what's going on. It should be a very small amount of toys. Again, if they dump them all out, it's manageable. If you want to prepare a couple of different bins that maybe have a stack of board books, some blocks, a stuffed animal, a rolling car, some blocks that stick together, these are just a few examples of a variety that you could have in a bin. Just have one of them out and put the others away. Number 4 is to rotate the toys or have them available where a parent or older child could get them out. This is where you as the parent have to manage this area. It's up to you to make sure that 5 bins aren't pulled out at one time. But when you pull one bin out, it gets cleaned up before moving on to another activity. And that brings me to number 5. We are always training our children how to clean up. I've had so many parents tell me that their toddlers are not capable of cleaning up. Well, children never do what you expect, they do what you inspect. They do what you consistently train them to do and what you follow up with. If you don't think an 8-month or a 12-month-old toddler can learn to pick up toys, I want you to think about when you put them in their car seat. Millie's only a year, but she already helps me by moving her shoulder to get her arm in or out of the strap. Why do they do that? They've been conditioned because every time, day in, day out, that you put them in and out of their car seat, they're learning, they're in training. The same thing will happen if you are consistent with helping them pick up toys. It will just become part of the routine. So my suggestion is that you clean up before. Clean up before you have a snack. Clean up before you go on an errand. Clean up before dad gets home. Clean up before you go outside. And definitely clean up before you get out another toy. If you find when you go to do cleanup that there are just too many toys out, it means you've allowed too many out. So if all they pulled out was their accessible basket or bin, then you need to reduce the number of toys in there. Or the mess might show you that in a moment of busyness, you just kept pulling new bins out, hoping to occupy your children. And I understand that. There will be times when you're just gonna grab at anything, hoping to occupy them for 10 more minutes while you finish dinner. This plan is not about perfection. We're dealing with real life where there's stresses and so many things to do to manage a home and a family. So don't be too hard on yourself, but begin to implement these 5 things. And I guarantee you it will make a huge difference. One of the big changes is that Joanna had all of these sensory toys in her kitchen in a bin for the kids to play with. And you can imagine how that went. What we did was we went through all of them, sorted them, put them in their own containers with labels. And these 3 got put in a cupboard and they're available for a parent to get out at any time that they want to supervise this activity. The 4th one, the magnets, are being stored in the kitchen because the kids use them on the refrigerator. This eliminated a huge amount of little tiny things that the children could scatter. It also helps them with their development when they're checking out a toy of like things. When they're done, they know to sort and put the like things together. Cleaning up is actually very educational. I'm gonna head over to Joanna's house in a little bit to get an update on how the system is working for her so far.
So it's been a week since you helped me organize, and I've definitely noticed a shift. It feels like I've been more intentional to notice when they were done with a certain toy, and then we put that away and then get something else out versus just the constant scattering. We do still scatter the toys that are out, but they're a lot better and more attentive at cleaning them up, and it's not as overwhelming. So even today, I had a bunch of things to do, and they had napped, and so they didn't clean up their toys before their nap, and so I decided to do it, and it took me a quarter of the time. I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is just a shift in myself of feeling more attentive to their needs and being more involved in their play, which I think is really important.
Would you recommend this, or what would you advise a mom that's considering doing this?
I would definitely say go for it. There's still moments, so not gonna lie, after you left, I was like, I think they need more toys out, and I got a few more out. And then after the first day, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm actually gonna give this a solid try. And it worked really well. It just makes me more intentional to actually cycle out the toys. But also, then I'm seeing what's actually getting played with. I always thought that Nehemiah loved Mr. Potato Head, but he doesn't love Mr. Potato Head. He likes grabbing the arm and pretending it's a key and walking around the entire house pretending to lock all the doors. Never even played with it. So that might be one that we evaluate and get rid of because it's not actually being played with.
Nice. Just keep an arm.
Yeah, just an arm. or get him some keys.
If this video's been helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I would love to hear your comments and questions. What are your biggest issues with toys and toddlers? You can also contact me through email, Facebook, or Instagram. Just check the description box below. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. Have a great day.